and welcome to this year's Year 9 options presentation. This presentation is relevant to our current Year 9 students who will be starting their Key Stage 4 studies in Year 10 in September 2022. The idea is the presentation is to be viewed alongside reading the options booklet and using the options form to make choices. So our curriculum at Farlingate is underpinned by a number of principles. We think that all students should have access to the full range of subjects. The way that we teach is based on our knowledge of our students and their previous experiences. All of our courses are designed to be challenging, both in terms of what is taught and also how it is assessed. We think creativity is vital and is valued across all subject areas. Our staff are encouraged to be brave in the way that they design their lessons and also the courses that are on offer. All of our subjects are given equal value regardless of the timetable allocation. Everything is important. And we also feel that learning outside of the classroom is something that adds depth to our curriculum and is a vital experience to enrich our students' learning. We do adapt what we do to suit each student, and that differentiation is part of our lessons and also part of the way that we design our curriculum. So there are a number of reasons behind us having options as part of our curriculum. Firstly, we think it's important that students have some choice in designing their timetable. They all have different areas of interest and we want to build on those. If students have chosen what they want to do, often they are more committed, more motivated, and inevitably more successful. We're always aiming for the best results for all of our learners, and to meet their different needs, we have a range of different types of courses. Some courses may be viewed as more academic and traditional, whereas others may have much more practical, and other courses have a vocational nature to them. We also have to ensure that all of our students are able to study the EBAC subjects if they want to. So our Key Stage 4 curriculum is made up of two key elements, and those two key elements are reflected on the options form. Firstly are the compulsory subjects. So these are the subjects that everybody studies and we refer to them as our core subjects. All students study English, both English literature and English language at GCSE. They also study maths at GCSE, and to be able to progress post 16, we're aiming for all students to achieve at least a grade 4 in their GCSEs in English and maths. If they don't achieve a grade 4, regardless of whether they go on to sixth form, to a college course, or to an apprenticeship or traineeship, they would still need to be continuing to study those subjects if they haven't achieved that grade while they are with us. All students study science qualifications, so everybody would study combined science, which is 2 GCSEs, unless they opt for separate science, which is 3 GCSEs. They would achieve 1 in biology, 1 in chemistry, and 1 in physics. So those subject areas are examined at the end of Year 11, but there are other elements to our core curriculum which are for all of our students, and that is PE is on the timetable for all students as well as PSHE. The second area of the curriculum is the 4 free options pools, which you should be familiar with from the options form that you have received. So there are 4 columns within which students can make their choices. Obviously, giving young people choice in what they study can have some limitations and some areas of concern. Firstly, some students may choose a really narrow and restrictive curriculum, and we try and encourage breadth and balance to what they do, but we're not prescriptive. We don't say all students must study a subject from each of the faculty areas because we want to build on their strengths and their talents. We have to be very careful in terms of modern foreign languages. We offer French, German and Spanish, but students need to be mindful of what they've studied through years 7, 8 and 9. And also, if they want to continue with languages post 16, they would need to do them at GCSE as well. As I said earlier, we do have to make sure that the EBAC is available to all of our students. So the EBAC is explained in your options booklet, but it's basically a package of more traditional qualifications, so English, Maths and Science, which includes computer science, as well as a modern foreign language and history or geography. So to achieve the EBAC, which is not a qualification, it's an accreditation, students would need to achieve a grade 4 or above in all of those subject areas. Other areas of concern, we need to be mindful of some of the restrictions that we face. So the timetable is reflected in the options pools. So anything in column A is taught at the same time, everything in column B taught at the same time, and so on. We have to be mindful of staffing. We would always want specialist staff to be in front of our teaching groups, as well as students, particularly for practical subjects, to have their lessons in specialised teaching areas. We do design our timetable based on the best fit for both our resources and the cohort that is going through, because every year group is different. We're also very mindful of class sizes, so we aim to run at a maximum of 30 students in a class. That is our aim. For practical subjects, sometimes they are smaller. For example, in food technology, we have 18 kitchens in each classroom, so we wouldn't have groups bigger than 18 because they wouldn't have the kitchen space that they need. Similarly, we need to be mindful that if too few students choose a subject, we wouldn't run that course, because if it's not a viable class size, it's not a course that we can run. And of course, we do need to be mindful of budgets and finances, but that is certainly not our primary concern. As part of our Key Stage 4 offer, we also have some vocational courses available, which are listed here. So vocational courses linked to sectors of employment, and they're assessed in a slightly different way to GCSE courses. There is usually more coursework and slightly less exam. We also have alternative provision available, primarily organised through Mrs. Moore. She's our SENCO, and these courses are for students who have a documented medical or SEND need, which requires a slightly different curriculum to some other students. It might be that they need courses that are assessed in a different way, or it may be that those students struggle with the rigours of a full curriculum or even require a part-time timetable in school. So in terms of our options, as I said before, our aim is for breadth and balance. So here are all of the choices shown organised in different faculty groups, so you can see how things fit together. So those subjects may be chosen by all students, and remember there is that additional personalised provision via learning supports. Some students, if they're aiming for breadth and balance, may think they'll choose one subject from 4 of the different faculty areas, but that is not a prescriptive thing. Some students may choose 2 humanities subjects or 2 vocational subjects. There is that element of choice. So what to do next? First and most importantly is to make sure you've had a really good read of the options booklet, which is found on the school website alongside this video. Make sure you have really good and productive conversations at home and with classroom teachers about subject areas so that you're fully informed, and then you just complete the options form and you return that form to school. There will be a box in reception where students can hand in that paperwork. So I'll now run through a few examples of what an options form that's been completed could look like. The key concepts are choose one subject from each column and choose a minimum of 1 grey shaded subject out of the 4 choices. So in this first example, you can see a selection of geography, GCSE PE, art photography and resistant materials. So you've got a humanities, a PE, something from creative arts and something from design technology, so that breadth across the different faculty areas is shown. On our second example, again, 1 from each column, this time separate science, drama, so something practical, Travel and tourism, so a vocational course, that's got quite a lot of coursework in but suits some learners, and business studies, which again is something new. And on our third and final example, on this one will include the EBAC accreditation being achieved. So this time we've got Spanish, so modern foreign language. We've got digital information technology, so that's a BTEC course and is a new course this year. We've got history from humanities, and then we've got food and nutrition in design technology area. So again, it's one choice from each column and at least one grey shaded subject. And on this example, the EBAC is achieved because there is a modern foreign language and history or geography. So a few bits to note. There are some impossible combinations. So students can't choose art with art photography, with art textiles. They are all a GCSE art. So it's the same course, just focusing in on specialist media. And that is highlighted on the options form at the bottom. Similarly, students can't choose resistant materials with graphics and systems. They are all GCSE design technology, exactly the same idea. It's the same qualification. It's just the material that students work in that is different. So they can't choose the same qualification twice. Our PE faculty do prefer that students do not choose sports studies and GCSE PE, but if that's really an area of interest, please have that conversation with the PE faculty. Take extra care. There are some courses which are in one pool only. There's only a handful of those, but if you really want to do a subject, make sure if it appears once, you definitely choose it in that column. And also be very mindful of things like how much coursework subjects have versus how much exam load there is. And that's explained in the options booklet, as well as in the curriculum areas on the school website. Now, first choices are usually absolutely fine, and the vast majority of our students every year get all of their first choices, but we do ask students to give a reserve choice just in case there's an issue. With a reserve choice, it needs to be a different subject to one that's been chosen in any of the options columns. Please remember though, if we can't give you all of your first choices, we're not automatically going to just give you reserve choice, and we will have a conversation and give you time to think about reconsidering. You do need to consider decisions really carefully. It's a 2-year commitment, and we can't just swap things about because classes get full, courses start. You also need to be very careful about what you want to do post-16. Most subject areas aren't dependent on the subjects that have been done at GCSE, rather the grades that you achieve. So it's best to go for strengths and things that you enjoy, rather than just thinking, I want to do this post-16, therefore I have to do this combination at GCSE. There are of course some exceptions to that. Things like languages, you do need to have studied GCSE to be able to progress to A-level. Some do nots. So we do ask our students to make their own choice. Don't make choices on what your friends are also choosing. So you make your selections in your 4 columns to tell me which 4 subjects you would like to study. But sometimes behind the scenes, to balance class sizes and to organise the timetable, we will swap people's pools around. So it will still be the same subjects, but it might not be in the same slots that you chose them in. Please be aware that although previous cohorts of students are really great sources of information, courses do change. Topics change, exams change, so don't just rely on what previous year groups have said. Also, don't base your choices on your likes and dislikes of current teachers. So the Key Stage 3 teacher may not be the same person that teaches Key Stage 4. So it's all about getting to know the subject area and thinking about areas of interest and strength rather than perceptions of what might happen. Sometimes students say, oh, this subject's really easy or this subject's going to be really hard. All of our subjects have equivalency to one another, so BTECs do have equivalency to GCSE, but sometimes students find coursework easier, some other students find exams easier. So make sure you've read the booklet to understand how things are assessed. And also, don't make choices just because you don't know about things. So read, ask questions and find out to make an informed choice. So in terms of making the decision, as I've said already, read the booklet, look at the website, think about recent reports and parents' evening, and if you need further advice, make sure you're asking subject teachers, heads of faculty, form tutors, and all of those people that can give you a hand with this. Find out about how courses are assessed and what that assessment load looks like. Talk at home, have those conversations. And if you are totally stuck, you can email me to request a one-to-one dialogue. Most students do not require this. Most students are able to look through the information, have conversations at home and make their choices. But if you're really stuck, please do send an email and just ask for some extra help. So it is inevitable that some students will change their mind after they've handed their form in. And first and most importantly, I would say don't panic about that. So I'm going to run through some timescales so that we're all clear on what to do if you change your mind. So firstly, if it's before the summer holidays, just pop and see me in school. My office is in Creative Arts. Bring a signed note saying what you would like to swap from and to, and I can look into that nice and easily. If it's over the summer holidays and you're at home, send me an email on my school email again saying what you would like to swap from and to. Just bear in mind, if it's in the summer holidays, there may not be an immediate response, but it will be picked up before you return to school in September. Once we're back at school at the start of year 10, we run a swap, not drop system. So students are able to swap subject areas. They can't drop subjects and do nothing, but swaps are allowed and staff are accommodating of this. But please be aware, some classes may at that point be full, so there may not be spaces to freely move. And in terms of a deadline for that, we do try and encourage students, if they're going to swap by the end of September of year 10. So running about a month of your timetable. And the reason for that is there'd be so much stuff to catch up on. If you get really late into year 10 or into year 11, we really do not encourage students to swap their subjects at that point. You will have studied too much content to be able to get caught up. And finally, the deadline for handing in options forms is Friday the 4th of March. Your year 9 student should take the paper copy of their form with their name at the top, one choice from each column, a reserved choice at the bottom, and signed by the parent or carer to the school reception, where it will be collected from one of our data team. Now, please be assured that the system is not a first come first served situation. All forms received by the deadline will be processed equally and fairly. Any forms handed in after the deadline do run the risk of classes being full, and therefore we do ask that as many students as possible meet that Friday the 4th of March deadline. You do have my email address if after reviewing the video, reading the options booklet and all of the information that you've had, if you have any further questions, do not hesitate to email me. The email address is on the letter that you have received. Good luck making your choices and thank you so much for listening.